You know, some stories feel like they're pulled straight out of a horror movie script. But this isn't fiction. Today, we're going to crack open a real case file and deconstruct an actual paranormal investigation into the terrifying events that went down in room 306 of a Mumbai hostel. And this is a headline that kicked the whole thing off. I mean, can you imagine reading this over your morning tea? For most people, it was just a crazy, shocking story. But for one person, it was basically a call to action. And that person was Gaurav Tiwari, one of India's most famous paranormal investigators. The second he read this, he knew something was seriously wrong at Hawkins Hostel. He didn't even hesitate, just booked a flight straight to Mumbai. Now, here's the thing you gotta understand about Gaurav. His goal wasn't just to go hunt some ghosts for the thrill of it. His mission was to find the truth. He approached this whole thing with one clear objective: find out what really happened to that young man, and why. So the investigation starts at ground zero, the sealed door of room 306. This is where Gaurav is about to have his very first encounter with whatever darkness is waiting inside. The hostel warden, a man named Gunput Kaka, is practically begging him to turn around and leave. He tells Gaurav that after the attack, they brought in a tantric, that's a practitioner of mystical rituals, who sealed the door with a special thread. This thing was meant to be a protective barrier, and the priest gave a chilling warning. Whoever breaks that seal will not survive. For Gaurav, though, that was a challenge, not a deal breaker. Gaurav snaps the seal and steps inside, and boom, the air is immediately cold, heavy, and it's thick with this foul, kind of decaying smell. The room itself is just a total wreck. He pulls out his gear, an EMF meter, which picks up weird shifts in electromagnetic fields, and an infrared camera to see what the eye can't, and he starts to sweep the room. And this is where things get really intense, really fast. He's wiping down this dusty mirror, and in the reflection, he catches a glimpse of a dark shadow standing right behind him. Instantly, the lights in the room start flickering like crazy. Then, bam, a massive bang erupts from the door, like something is trying to smash its way in or out. He spins around, and just like that, the shadow in the mirror is gone. Right when he feels like he's getting somewhere, a police constable shows up and kicks him out of the hostel. So the first investigation is cut short. But you know, this setback only made Gaurav more determined to figure out the mystery of room 306. Okay, so he's blocked from the room. What's the next move? Gaurav realizes he needs another source. He has to talk to the one person who survived what was inside that room, the victim himself. So Gaurav tracks down the student, a guy named Ishan, who's laid up in a hospital bed. He walks in, introduces himself, and Ishan, who's heard of Gaurav's reputation, actually feels a little bit of hope for the first time. Gaurav pulls up a chair and just asks him to walk him through everything that happened that night. Ishan explains he was on a video call with his girlfriend Rohini when out of nowhere she started panicking. Her terrified voice came right through the laptop speakers. "Ishan, behind you! There's someone behind you!" He thought she was messing with him at first, but her fear was absolutely real. And what she saw next through that screen was the brutal, invisible attack. Gaurav then asks a really smart question. He asks what Ishan did in the days before the attack. Ishan thinks for a second and then remembers something that seemed totally insignificant. He was trekking on a remote hill with Rohini and found this really beautiful, unusual plant. He was so charmed by it, he just uprooted it and took it back to his room. For Gaurav, that was it. A light bulb just went off in his head. The plant was the key. So now he's armed with this critical piece of information. Gaurav knows he has to go back. He returns to the hostel, ready to confront whatever is in that room one last time. They step back into the room, and the atmosphere is even heavier than before. As Gaurav tries to communicate with the entity, a mirror on the wall suddenly cracks violently. And then a thick, black, smoky shape just pours out from the shadows and lunges directly at the terrified warden, Gunput Kaka, forcing its way into his body through his nose and mouth. And the transformation it's horrifying. One second, Gunput Kaka is this trembling old man scared out of his mind. The next, his body goes completely rigid, his head snaps back, and his eyes, they turn solid black. The voice that comes out of him is not his own. It's deep, guttural, completely inhuman. And then, through the warden's mouth, the entity speaks its first words, a chilling declaration that just echoes in that tiny room. "This room is now mine." Thinking on his feet, Gaurav knows he has only one shot. He lunges for the potted plant, holds it up, and yells that he'll destroy it if the entity doesn't release the warden. And for the first time, the possessed warden hesitates. Its pitch-black eyes lock onto that plant, and you can almost see a flicker of something like fear cross its face. The entity retreats. The black smoke violently exits the warden's body, and Gunpot Kaka just collapses in a heap. But Gaurav knows it's not really over. The only way to truly end this is to return the curse to where it came from. They don't waste a single second. Gaurav and the weakened warden get in a car and they race back to that exact same hill where Ishan found the plant. They manage to find the spot where it was uprooted, this little indentation left in the earth. As Gaurav is replanting it, he notices markings in the dirt, symbols from a tantric ritual. And this is the final piece of the puzzle. He explains this concept called Prait Bandhan. Basically, it's a ritual where a spirit is mystically chained to a physical object. When Ishan moved that plant, he didn't just move a plant, he moved a prison, and the prisoner came right along with it. So by returning the plant to its original consecrated ground, Gaurav was basically putting the spirit back in its cage and locking the door. He patted down the last of the soil, a cold gust of wind swept across the hill, the plant's leaves rustled once, and then everything was still. The haunting of Hawkins Hostel was finally over. After that day, all the paranormal activity in room 306 just stopped. The case was closed. But it leaves you with this really unsettling thought, right? A beautiful, harmless-looking flower was holding a malevolent spirit. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other objects like that are just out there, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to pick them up?